Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Malkin with me, Bring It Down. Let's speak to these folks. Sutter, where are you? A young woman, little more than a girl really, stood on the steps of the little cabin, calling out. When she saw Donald, she stopped and stared, then screamed, Sutter. Sutter himself, a middle-aged man in hunting leathers with a quiver on his back, stepped out of the woods. He was red and out of breath. Quiet, girl. What is it? What are you screaming about? And he saw the young witch. Who are you? A visitor? Where do you come from? The inn? Not a good time to be wandering. A woman who had been struggling to hang a deer carcass on a tree limb stopped her work. She stared at Donald. I'm a witch. As it happens, I'm looking for a hunter. Well, I'm a hunter, but I don't think it's me you're looking for. I'm just surviving out here with my family. I don't make trouble. I know enough to respect your kind. Aren't you going to introduce us, Sutter? The young woman had been gazing at Donald the whole time, as if trying to make sense of what she was seeing. The witch doesn't care about two silly girls. Aw, Sutter, come on, she pouted. Fine, but quit your wheedling. These are my wives. This one's name is Niana, but I call her Nunny. The one with the deer is Jabetha. Donald noticed that both women were pregnant. I've got an idea, she said. Why don't we go on inside? It's a little cooler, and I can pour you some dandelion wine, and you two can talk about whatever you want. Jabetha, who had been staring silently at Donald the whole time, now stared at her co-wife. The old hunter gave Nunny a sharp look. All right, Sutter said slowly. Can't take back an invitation. Not to a witch, anyway. What do you say, witch? You want to step inside? Very well, but I can't stay long. Sutter and Nunny went in with Donald, but Jabetha stayed outside to continue her work. Pharaoh came in too. The bird's presence delighted Nunny. They entered a messy, unwholesome-smelling kitchen. A flimsy screen separated it from the shack's only other room, where Donald could see the foot of a single big bed. Sutter sat down at the table, while Nunny got out the dandelion wine. Well, you don't look like someone named Eldest Lady. My name is Donald. My, that's an interesting name, isn't it, Sutter? Well, Donald, you always carry a gourd around with you. No, it usually walks around on its own. Ha ha ha, you're funny. I like you. Wasn't that funny, Sutter? She puts cups on the table and started pouring the dandelion wine. Sure was, said Sutter without a smile. Then they heard a commotion outside, something breaking, a thud, Jabetha yelling. Sutter jumped up. Nunny, startled, knocked over Donald's cup. Everyone ran outside to see what was going on. It was nothing. The deer carcass had been too heavy for the tree. The limb had broken, and the deer had fallen down. Jabetha was uninjured. Darn it, Jabetha, I knew you wouldn't do those ropes right. Go inside. I'll fix this. Can't have the dirt getting all over it. I could help, volunteered the young witch. No, go on in. Donald went back inside with Sutter's two wives. As soon as the door was closed, Nunny dropped to the ground in front of Donald. Help us, she said in a panicked whisper. Help us. We don't want to be here anymore. Nunny? It's time, Jabetha. It's time. Time for what, Nunny? Time to leave. Time to kill him. To kill Sutter. Kill Sutter? What is this talk? Don't listen to her, stranger. I don't know what's gotten into her. Nunny. Sutter loves you, do you hear? He loves us. No, he don't. Didn't he kill my dad? Killed your dad? No. You don't even know who your dad is. What's gotten into you? Not, who'd been resting on the table and gourd for, moved. The two young women didn't notice. Then Donald felt it. There was magic at work as oppressive as August heat. Nen ran. She heard the hunter's footsteps in the woods, now close, now far, always pursuing. Come back, beautiful. Sorry I scared you. I didn't mean anything by it. He was closer now. I don't want you running off to tell people, he warned. I don't want you running to those witches. The fear was overwhelming. It was so strong that it pushed her sense of who she was aside, made her feel like somebody else, a body running through space. Where was her witchcraft? I'm serious. Stop running. I'm a good shot. Stop. Stop running, darn it. An arrow whizzed by. He stopped shouting. He was aiming. Another one. It hit. She held her hand to the agony. It was too wet. She didn't dare look. The vision was over. Donald remembered the other vision he'd had of Nen's death. They were similar, but this one felt more real, more visceral. It was also more recent. The young witch put his hand on the table to steady himself. Nani was still pleading her case, and Jalbetha was still scolding her with harsh whispers. Get up off the floor, Nani. What if he comes in and sees you like this? I don't care. I don't. Kill him, witch. He deserves it. Not moved on the table again. The gourd was getting bigger. Here he comes, Nani. Get up. Nani reluctantly did as she was told. Please, witch. Believe me. What you just heard. There's nothing to it. Nani, she's talking nonsense. Maybe you put her under some kind of spell. I don't know why you do that. But Sutter doesn't mean any harm. He's done nothing wrong. Please, just leave. We're fine here. Just leave. We're fine. Yeah, I'm not inclined to believe Jalbetha here. Sutter came in, covered with dirt and gore. That was a darn bit of trouble. If I didn't know better, I'd say the thing was still alive. What are you all looking at? Nani, clean up that wine. There's a pool of it dripping onto the floor. Then he took a step back. Witch, you're gored. Not was himself again. I told you he walked on his own. That was a warning, not a joke. He stood up. He dwarfed the tiny room. He picked up the table and hurled it against the flimsy screen. The woman screamed. Sutter darted for the exit and found Donald blocking the way. Tell me, do you kill Nen? Nen. As soon as the name was out, quivering in the air between them, the witch got dizzy. He saw the vision of Sutter stalking Nen through the woods over again. But just as with the vision he'd experienced with the other hunter, it seemed artificial, an imposition on his imagination. Show me one of the arrows you hunt with. What? My arrows? The witch nodded and held out his hand. Sutter took out an arrow and gave it to him. It was made in the same... same way as the one that killed Nen. It threw me off a bit. So not seem pretty upset about this guy regardless. I'm gonna let Not kill him. As he doesn't seem like he's a good man based on the interaction with the two wives. So Not kill him. Not bludgeoned Sutter with the chair. Hunter didn't know how to resist and hardly did. Jalbetha and Nani screamed and ran out of the shack and into the woods. And where they went, the young witch would never know. As the man's life ebbed away, Donald drained him of a pint of blood. The young witch met a hunter named Sutter and his two wives, Nani and Jalbetha. While conversing with them, the witch had a vision of Sutter killing Nen. Nani asked the young witch to kill him, suggesting he had wronged her and her family, so Jalbetha accused her of lying. The witch decided to kill him, but now have to take his blood back to Eldest Lady. The little house was now deserted. So I don't necessarily think that he's the one that killed Nen. But he may have been deserving of death regardless. More bloody thornapple grew here. He collected some. And then we decide on a path. Probably west first. But we'll double check. We've explored 85% of the map. Pretty exciting. Yeah, let's go west and then north. I'm not sure where this is going to take us. We don't have a path here. It's just a giant gourd. And a crow and the cardinal directions. Never eat soggy waffles. Sorry, I remember north, east, south, west. Yeah, I don't think I can bring myself to grab Winter Attunement 2. That -2 attack bonus. I mean, we could grab the first. I think this is better, though. So Hauntings 2 gives us +1 hit points. Or hit point. Singular. And the next upgrade's pretty significant as well. And then, I'm gonna grab along an Icy Path. So affects a line 1/2 in front of caster, 3 to 5 cold damage, base 60% chance of doing full damage, fortitude modifies. A -1 movement, base 50% chance of working, reflex modifies, debuff lasts until enemy makes a successful reflex save. I don't think the movement really matters, since it's only a 1/2 area in front of the caster. A line of hooded figures stepped out of the portal. They glided through the ruined arches toward Donald. The usher came behind, flanked by parliamentarians. Alright, the usher is vulnerable to cold. Is perfect for us. Oh, we got the Pine of Blood. The blood of a hunter, the young witch was supposed to bring it to Eldest Lady. And we still can. I never looked at this one either. A +1 charisma, +10% cold resist. $77 dross. Alright, time to wrap this up. Don't have time to waste. Nothing moved among the ruins now. A stillness and quiet prevailed in this corner of the woods, deeper if possible than it was before the fight. Quick save. Donald had entered the ruins of what seemed to be an ancient abbey. Weeds grew in the cracks of the floor's mosaic work, and sunlight shining through holes in the pitched roof helped brighten dim corners. Statues of hooded figures stood all around in two distinct poses, one suggesting grief, the other consolation. Donald knew it was a magical place, but what was its magic for? He was too young to know that the most powerful magic had no purpose. The young witch had entered the ruins of an old abbey. What secrets would further exploration reveal? Excellent question. Alright, time doesn't progress in this dungeon either. Thankfully. Let's hang a left. It felt right. Alright, let's hang it right. Hang another right. Okay, looks like it might be a full-blown maze. There's a person there. We'll avoid talking to them for right now. Assuming these are all dead ends. Oh, this one might not be. Like it's a dead end though. Just a large one. Donald entered a courtyard garden partitioned by mosaic walkways and rose hedges. After the shadows of the interior, the summer sun was blinding. It glowed on the yellow rose petals and made the white pebbles in the walkways gleam. A woman was standing at the center of the garden near a pool. Her robes were a rich orange that was like the dark part of a peach or the embers of a fire. She waved at Donald as if they were old friends. Welcome to the Abbey. It's so rare that travelers come by. I'm the Abbess. Would you care to join me in the refectory for refreshment and conversation? I was on my way there when you came out. What is this place? The Abbey of Mortal Pursuance? Please follow me, and I'll tell you all about it. I would be grateful. Good, good. Come along. She turned and gestured for Donald to follow. She went quietly through the courtyard and into the Abbey. The young witch met the abbess in the Abbey's lonely garden. She invited the witch to join her for food and conversation in the Abbey's refectory. I can't go any further that way. Is that going to be a head? Donald and the abbess sat together at a plain table in the center of the refectory. Pharaoh hopped onto the table expectantly. The witch's surprise, the abbess offered a silver dish full of nuts and kernels to the gratified crow. Nott, who had no need to eat anything, stood nearby. Then the abbess pulled a piece of red silk off something in the table to reveal a beehive swarming with bees. She rolled back a sleeve. Her arm looked delicate and soft, and surprisingly youthful. Then she plunged her hand into the hive, withdrew a fistful of honeycomb, and devoured it without embarrassment. As she was chewing the wax and licking little golden morsels from between her fingers, she gestured for the witch to do the same. Donald complied. The honey was like a July meadow gone gold from rainless days. It evoked the intensities of the young witch's still younger self. He remembered being 14, walking through the apple orchard, sweetness tinged with bitterness. Even so, it was delicious. The abbess took more of the honeycomb, then Donald took more, then the abbess, and so on, until none was left. Afterwards, the abbess studied Donald, saying nothing but looking into his face unreservedly. the way an infant studies a stranger, affectionate, curious, motiveless. Then they began talking. The abbess's stories. They were many. An hour passed, during which Donald hardly spoke. As soon as an opening came, Goldman rounded the corner of whatever tale she was telling, to reveal new characters and situations. If she was to be believed, heroes and villains and scoundrels of all kinds had come through the Abbey, and she knew everything about them. Her stories always involved the Abbey in some way, the Abbey and its many rooms, many more than Donald had seen. Donald oddly wondered if he would make it into one of her stories. Strangely, it didn't occur to him to ask the questions that would come to most people in such circumstances. Do other people live in the Abbey? Where are they? Why is it so big? What do the people, or you, if you're the only one here, believe exactly? Where do you get the honey? He didn't lack curiosity, but the Abbey made him a child and placed the most obvious questions on a shelf just out of reach. There are, of course, rooms I've never been in, but I've lived in these halls longer than you've lived in the world. But here you are. Here you are. Here we are. Donald was confused. He couldn't follow any longer or remember what the abbess had just been saying. Each story was a compartment in the abbess's longer narrative. Outside the stories, all of a sudden, all himself again, he felt lost. Other rooms. Why haven't you gone into them? The chapels are locked. My vows forbid me from opening them. Do you have the key? I do. The locks are my vows. The keys are my will. As long as I restrain my will and do not put key to lock, I honor my vows. What's in these chapels? Whom do they honor? You don't understand, she laughed. I don't know, and I'm not supposed to know. My vows mean I will never know. But, she said, with a twinkle in her eye, you have not taken any vows. Are you curious? I am. Then follow me, she said, leaping up from the table. The sudden motion disturbed the bees. Donald followed the abbess. The abbess held forth a key. This will unlock any of the 3 chapels. We can only enter one. You'll see why. I don't know what you'll find, but I do know that no door is absolutely right or wrong. Each has something. Each does not have something else. Donald took the key. The key of mortal pursuance received. The young key took an ornate key from the abbess. Sorry, did I say the young key? The young witch took an ornate key from the abbess. It would open any one of 3 chapels. The young witch would have to choose the door carefully. Each has something, the abbess advised. Each does not have something else. The abbess would answer no questions. Alright, so there were 2 types of statues. The constellation one and... I forgot what the other one was. I don't think there's a clue for anything, right? I mean, I'll boldly take the middle door, right? Right down the middle. Oh, Door of Sorrow. Alright, they have names. Door of Loathing. Door of Concord. What do we know about those words in relation to the game? I'm thinking Concord. I don't really care for Loathing or Sorrow. Oh, the names are on the doors too. I didn't see that. I think Concord. We make agreements with people all the time. This is the Door of Concord. Donald used the abbess's key to open this door. Each person orders their experience according to an unseen principle. A principle experience itself is constantly revising. The Abbey is Instanta- instantiation of that principle, jeez, as it mediates pleasure, said the abbess. Then the door closed behind the young witch. Instantiation. The wall opposite the door had crumbled away, and Donald could see outside. Blackstone shone white with sunlight, and antique columns buttressed the cloudless blue above. A statue of a graceful youth gazed at Donald across a distance that was impossible to judge. A circular pool reflected the scene exactly. A breeze fragrant with jasmine and sun-baked dust drew Donald toward the pool and statue. The marble youth stood perfectly midway between the heavens and the earth, between blue infinity and its reflection. It was so bright that the flagstones left square after images on the sky. Donald walked slowly around the pool, studying the reflections in it. He saw the white sun in the water, not the familiar sun, but a disk containing many rings. Each ring was subdivided into houses like a zodiac, and each house bore an inscription and characters of strange and mingled sense. The sense came from the harmony of word, sound, and image. When the rings rotated, some slow, some fast, house met house, and inscription met inscription, making chords. All discord was brief and served to make harmonies return lovelier. The light in the pool made light all around, brighter even than sunlight. Suffering and pain were only after-images that brighter, better, greater light overcame. Good was everywhere, music everything. And then Donald was back outside the abbey. Its doors were locked. There's no sign of life inside, nor space to walk. Nothing but wreckage. The young witch left the abbey of mortal pestilence behind. Its mysteries remained. Did I choose the wrong door? Can't go back inside. The woods were inhospitable and suspicious. The thorny undergrowth crowded the path. And the trees twisted and buckled over Donald, the way a scholar stoops over old papers. Then the Congress was there. Will he go on? Will he turn back? Willy-nilly, willy-whack. He will go on. He must, in fact. Bound by blood or bound by pact? Bound by neither. Bound by will. Bound by urges. Bound to kill. Alright, Usher is vulnerable to magic this time around. A lot of, elf candles. Subpoena received. party whip. Hang in there, buddy. The reason to go over there? We've had enemies drop items before. I think I'm gonna make my way over there. Oh, cool. So even if he gets knocked out, the health regen effect will proc. That's awesome. Nice out for a couple of turns, though. Yes, that is worth it. At first, I was like, oh, maybe I don't want that because it doesn't have very much health. I can't move. That would do it. Oh, that's right. We gotta hurry this along. I could have just gone straight across. The monster retreated deeper into the woods ahead of Donald. Alright, I'm gonna call it here, and next time we'll continue northward and see where the map goes, because we don't have a trail to follow. And then, once we're done with that, this section of the woods, we can return to the mountain and speak to the final kami, which I wanted to do before we confronted the final hunter, or the second hunter. There's supposed to be 3, right? We only met 2. Right? Yeah, we only met Wenzel and Sutter. His name's probably like Suter or Sudair or something. Well, either way, I'm going to call it here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.